What is up, everybody? So today is January 25th, 2023, and Kathleen Zellner yesterday filed her latest response to the state on behalf of Steven Avery. Now, it is not made public yet, but once it is, I will definitely bring it to you. But until then, we're going back to reading the newspapers from 2005 and seeing what was being printed at the time all of this was going on. So sort of a live timeline of events, but a live timeline of events from something that happened 18 years ago. So this first one is from the Janesville Gazette, and it's from November 11th, 2005, and I will put them all up on the screen for you so you can check them out. So this one states, missing woman case now a homicide investigation. Now I should say this is the second video I've done of these. I will link the first one in the description so you can go back and check it out if you want to keep up to date on how things were progressing at the time. Missing woman case now a homicide investigation. Teeth, bone fragments found at the Avery salvage yard. Steven Avery is shown in a Calumet County booking photo taken Wednesday. That is the picture there. You probably have seen that picture a million times. The hunt for a missing 25-year-old freelance photographer turned into a homicide investigation with the discovery of human teeth and bone fragments at an auto salvage yard owned by the family of a man who spent 18 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Jerry Pagel, who was the Calumet County Sheriff heading the investigation into the disappearance of Teresa Halbach, said someone apparently tried to dispose of a body by burning it. However, that attempt was not completely successful. Authorities were working to identify the remains found on the property of Steven Avery's family. Halbach's relatives had found her sport utility vehicle at the same salvage yard while searching for her last Saturday. At a news conference Thursday, Jerry Pagel said this: the key to Teresa Halbach's SUV was found in the bedroom of Steven Avery, who lives in a rented trailer home near the salvage yard. Investigators found blood in Halbach's vehicle and in some buildings on the Avery property. Pagel declined to comment whether he thought remains were Halbach's out of respect for her family. Investigators also would not say exactly where the remains were found, though Pagel said deputies focused on a burn barrel on the Avery property during their search. The state crime lab was analyzing the human remains. It was not known when the results would be available. No one has been charged in Halbach's disappearance. Avery and his relatives have denied he was involved when contacted by the news media. Now, that picture of Avery, I believe, was from when he was arrested for the gun violation. Now, this article talks about how Steven Avery has said she stopped briefly, took pictures of a minivan, and then left. Her family became concerned when they didn't hear from her for days and reported her missing on November the 3rd. After authorities began searching, more than 100 friends and relatives joined in the hunt. Now, this one is from the Madison, Wisconsin State Journal, November the 12th, 2005. Avery to be charged with Halbach murder. And of course, you see Ken Kratz there in the top, and his quote: "It is no longer a question, at least in my mind, as special prosecutor in the case, who is responsible for the death of Teresa Halbach." Ken Kratz, Calumet County District Attorney. Prosecutor dismisses notion of a frame-up. Now, I didn't realize until reading these newspapers how public they were talking about the frame-up back then. I didn't realize that it was being printed in the press at the time. I just thought it was Steven Avery and his attorneys just talking about it in the courtrooms and their press conferences and things like that. I didn't realize how often the media, the newspapers in the area, were also discussing it. And I wonder if the news outlets, like the TV news coverage, were also talking about this at the time. I would love to go back and watch the news stories that were airing on television of this case at that time. Now, this one states, Steven Avery, the shot man who served 18 years for a crime he didn't commit, will be charged with the murder of 25-year-old Teresa Halbach, who disappeared on Halloween. Avery, 43, was the last known person to see Teresa Halbach alive, and his blood was found along with hers in her sport utility vehicle, said Kratz, who expects to file charges early next week. Avery was taken into custody Wednesday on an unrelated weapons charge and remains jailed in Calumet County. The ignition key to Hallbach's SUV was found hidden in Avery's bedroom, and it has his DNA on it, Stephen Avery's DNA on it, and then it has his quote at the top there. Now, the evidence against Stephen Avery. I'm interested in this. Some of the evidence mentioned by authorities who announced Friday they would be charging Stephen Avery with the killing of Teresa Hallbach. Burned remains of an adult woman found at the Avery salvage yard near Mashot. No positive identification had yet been made. So they're charging him with the murder, theoretically. They're charging him with the murder of this unknown person at this given time. It states that there was no positive identification had yet been made. Avery's blood found inside Hallbach's sports utility vehicle, which was found covered by brush and car parts in the Avery salvage yard. DNA evidence linking Avery to the SUV's ignition key was found hidden inside Avery's bedroom. Blood discovered in Avery's trailer, home, and garage. 11 .22 caliber shell casings found in Avery's garage, and 2 guns in his home. Charred remains of a cell phone and digital camera found in a barrel. Handcuffs, iron leggings, and pornographic materials seized by authorities. I love how it's in this article of the Janesville Gazette. It states the storyline. Prosecutors say they will charge a man with killing a 25-year-old woman whose vehicle was found at his family's auto salvage yard near Mashot in Manitowoc County. Storyline couldn't be more accurate. Ken Kratz, who plans to charge Avery with first-degree intentional homicide by Tuesday, wouldn't say why or how he thinks Teresa Hallbach was killed. He said he also planned to file other charges against Avery, including those related to the hiding and mutilation of a corpse. Ken Kratz has no plans to charge anyone else, though he said authorities were still investigating whether others were involved. I love how Ken Kratz, at this point in time, states he has no plans to charge anybody else. Brendan Dassey sits in prison because Ken Kratz had no plans to charge anybody else. Brendan Dassey is sitting in prison because they couldn't get a conviction on Stephen Avery without the help of somebody else. So they put, allegedly of course, they put Brendan Dassey at the scene of the crime, got him to confess to a crime he didn't commit, and yeah, Ken Kratz has no plans to charge anyone else. This one is from the Janesville Gazette, November the 13th, 2005. Averys have had many encounters with police. The Avery family and the police don't mix, never have. So while Stephen Avery could face a charge of first-degree murder, intentional homicide as early as Monday, his family believes he's being framed to stop a $36 million lawsuit against the county. The family fears deputies could cart them away next. The only thing I can think, they are trying to railroad me again and see if they can get away with it this time, Stephen Avery, 43, said before he was arrested. This one is from the Janesville Gazette as well. Bad blood. Woman's death, latest legal run-in for the Averys. The Avery family and police don't mix, never have. Friday night, just hours after the prosecutors announced Stephen Avery would face a murder charge in the death of Teresa Hallbach, his older brother, Chuck, popped the trunks of his family's cars. He said he wanted to make sure the sheriff deputies hadn't planted more trouble for them. We're really on the edge, Chuck Avery said. Ken Kratz states, it is not possible the evidence is tainted evidence or was in any way planted by a Manitowoc County law enforcement agency or any other law enforcement agencies for that matter. So Ken Kratz already talking about a frame-up as well. So that's where I'm going to leave this part. I'll be back with more newspaper articles from 2005, 2006, and all the way up until today. Eventually, of course, that's going to be a long time from now. But like I said earlier, Kathleen Zellner has filed her response to the state, and I will bring that to you once it becomes public. Let me know what you think of the news articles at this point in time. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you again soon.